Aloha mai kako. Welcome to a new episode of What School You Went. We start every conversation with that question. I'm Ron Mizutani, and today we are talking story with one of Hawaii's finest gifts to the world. Singer, songwriter, ukulele virtuoso, Taimane Gardner. Welcome.
Thank you.
Extremely grateful to have you here. You know, first I want to thank you because when we reached out to you and Mark, your manager, hey, can we get some maybe music for What School You Went? And you willingly said, yeah, here's some options. Mm-hmm. And we selected Hades, right?
Yes.
Hades. Thank you.
Of course.
That's the jam we hear in and out of this podcast.
Yeah, you know, it's always nice to support each other as, you know, local. So, I was definitely open and very happy to be here.
Very stoked to have you.
On the podcast.
Before we get any further, I got to ask, because I ask every guest.
Okay.
What school you went?
Oh, I went to a bunch, actually. So I started off at Punahou, and then I actually moved with my family to New Zealand for a couple years, around like 11. I was around 11 years old. But then we missed Hawaii so much that we came back. And so middle school, I went New Valley. And then I went to Kalani for a little bit. But then I switched over to Waldorf Private School and graduated with them.
Waldorf. So what was their mascot, Waldorf?
Oh.
Did they have one?
I don't think they did. Yeah. It's a very artsy school, yes. So we all had to draw as our interview. So probably something artistic would be their mascot.
Was it on Kalani Ono? Was it back then? Was it?
They had two different schools, but the higher school was actually in Kahala, right across from Zippy's, which is really dangerous because every lunch break I would go there and get something.
Okay, but by the time you got to all your different schools, I mean, your ukulele. Your introduction to ukulele started early when you were 5 years old, and I know you've shared this story before. But I'm going to re-ask a few questions. We got viewers joining us, by the way, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. You guys are all live. Send in your questions. We'll get it out to Taimane. But start back when you were 5. What made you pick up that first time the ukulele, and when did you know? Oh, this is fun.
Even before I had the ukulele, I was such a ham on stage. My parents put me into like a ballet school, ballet class, and I remember having a recital, and I would not get off stage. Even though the show was done, I was like, let's get all the ballet dancers, and we all took pictures, you know, the parents taking the pictures at the end. I wouldn't get off stage. And so I think my dad kind of took that as a hint that, you know, maybe I'm a performer. So he gave me my very first ukulele when I was 5. And I remember playing in front of the mirror, kind of pretending to be a rock star until I broke a string. I was just having the best time. And then, you know, I showed it to my dad. And so he's like, oh, I'll just start putting her in ukulele school. So I went to a couple at first. I went with Roy Sakuma School, awesome. And then Mike Basquez, which was in Kaimuki at the time, and that teacher kind of introduced me into playing in front of coffee shops and then malls, and so I started playing in front of people at a very young age. And I remember my dad, he told me, oh, you know, he was very nervous because he wasn't sure if I was going to be okay playing. It was at his grandma's church for the first time, and he was nervous that I would be too nervous. And he told me I was playing ukulele while walking on stage. Yeah, I was already playing ukulele before I got on stage, and so that's kind of how I started at a young age.
So Dad was a businessman. Mom was an entertainer. So you had good genes. But Dad said, you know what, you need a bigger venue, and literally took you out to Waikiki. I remember when we first interviewed you back when I was at KHON. I mean, you were a young teenager, and we already knew you were destined for stardom. Waikiki was a special time for you, I bet.
Yes, it was a great work environment because, you know, you have cars whizzing by you, you have a new audience every couple minutes. So it was a great place for me to hone my craft, to see what would work with people walking by, and that was really the place that I was just honing my ukulele skills, learning how to work with a crowd. And then one of the performers from Uncle Don Ho's stage, Angel, who was a singer, saw me on the streets and asked me to play for Uncle Don.
And that kind of set you in that path. I'm getting questions coming in already, Taimane, so I'm going to sprinkle it in. Please keep your questions coming, and really, Uncle Don meant a lot to the world and to you as well. And you, I'm sure you credit him with a lot of your early success. So who are your musical inspirations, if you were to look back?
Great question. As a young ukulele player, of course, I call him the king, Jake Shimubakuro, which I had the honor and blessing to have as one of my teachers. Also, his younger brother, Bruce, also very good, was also one of my teachers. So Jake, huge inspiration at the time. I grew up listening to classical music too, so I love the sound of classical, but at that time, no one was playing really classical on the ukulele. So, you know, I had to kind of figure out my way on how to incorporate that into the ukulele. And then also my dad introduced me as a teenager to Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, you know, all the classic rock music that I like to incorporate too. So,
To this day.
yes.
As well as Beethoven and other classical. We're getting more questions. I want to get to this one because I think it's a very interesting question about 5-string as opposed to 4-string. But going back to your early influencers, if you will, I traveled to Japan with Jake at Fuji Rock Festival, and he opened up with the national anthem, and there wasn't anybody in that whole Fuji Rock that was doing stuff like him. You've been compared to some of the greatest already, doing things that nobody else has ever seen. Your stages have just become the world. What is that like for you when you're up there? What are you thinking as an artist, as an entertainer, but also knowing your roots and how important that is to you?
Absolutely. So number one thing that I'm thinking when I'm on stage while I'm playing is keeping the audience engaged, which is why I play all of these medleys. They're never the same because I have to see if the audience loves the song, so I play it a little longer, or if, you know, their attention span is kind of crazy, then I'll switch it over. So that's what I'm doing while I'm playing music. I'm like, when is the next song? When should I end it? What should I talk about? So that's what's going on in my head.
So is it choreographed? Like I've watched you live, and you are insane live. I mean, you are truly an entertainer, Taimane. And do you choreograph where you're going to stand, where you're going to sit, where you're going to jam, where you're going to shred it, where you're going to stand next to your guitarist? I mean, or is that ad-lib?
Definitely not choreographed. I think I've been doing this for so long that you kind of have a feel, intuitive of where you should be. So it's kind of ad-libbed, but like an experienced ad-lib.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember watching a video of you starting here and then ending up on a little box. And so when I told the crew, I said, hey, we got to make sure we have these things just in case she wants to just free flow.
Yes.
And that's awesome. This question has been answered, but thanks for the question. What was it like playing in Waikiki as a child? And it was a very important part of your life. And the Beach Boys helped you out. I mean, there were so many different things about being a performer on Kalakaua Avenue in Waikiki.
Yes.
Yeah, special stuff. Why do you play a 5-string?
Oh, great question. So most of the time ukuleles are either 4-string or you can even double it up as an 8-stringer. But over the years, I kind of just been like picking off strings, and I've just realized that 5-string is really my sound. I do a lot of flamenco music, a lot of Spanish music, so having that extra string kind of gives it more of that genre flair. And I also have 2 low G strings rather than high G string. Let me show you.
Yeah, please do.
I have this ukulele that
it's
it's my signature ukulele, just came out. Anyways, so the usual ukulele sound is
My dog has fleas.
exactly with the high G.
I can play that.
Yeah. But I play a low G string, which sounds like this instead. And then on my performance ukulele, I have 2 of those. So it really gives that bass sound, which I think balances the ukulele, which is usually very trebly, very high pitched. So for me, it really balances out the sound.
That's interesting. I only know 4-string, and I know G7, F, you know, just the vamp. Like everybody else, I don't know how you guys shred it that way. I was thinking about when you said you broke your first string and Dad said, oh, you need another ukulele. I'm sure you broke many strings along the way.
Yes. It can be, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, in the middle of a performance,
Oh, yeah.
do you have like backup?
I do.
Yeah.
I bring 2 ukuleles with me usually on every performance. I have strings. It's happened to me before. I can I can change a string in about 2 to 3 minutes now, but the most important part is how to incorporate that into the show and how to engage the audience while, you know, secretly having a panic attack trying to
that's part of the show, right? I mean, that's cool. I mean, people see you shredding like that and you pop a string. That's cool. Question for you says, if you could, good one. If you could share the stage with anyone, Taimane, alive or no longer with us, who would that be?
Oh gosh, there's so many. Santana.
Carlos Santana.
I would love to play with him. Jake, just because he's the king, I really, you know, respect and love playing with him. Those are the two that really pop up for me. I do think it'd be kind of fun to do something with like an electronic DJ. So having like the electronic beats, but then also having the live energy of the ukulele, I think would be a really cool,
that sounds like a cool
modern pairing. So yeah, something like that.
All right. Where does your inspiration for your music come from? I mean, your latest release is all original.
All original.
Who inspires you to come up with some of that?
So all of my albums are concept albums. So the most recent one, Hawaiki, is very much inspired by my Polynesian side. I'm half Samoan. My mom was from Apia, Samoa. Taimane actually means diamond. So it's very, you know, she passed about 4 years ago. And so it was a way for me to connect with my Samoan roots personally. So that's where this album came from.
So you tap into, you know, Mom was very influential in your life as well as on the music side. And wonderful lady, by the way. Your mom touched many people through her years. And that comes out in this new album. And I'm actually wearing this shirt purposely.
I love it.
Because it's got Bora Bora on it. And that's one of your, you know, signature songs as well.
Yep, I have a original song called Bora Bora Sunset on the new album. And when I write, I see like an image or a visual, or I want to create a mood. And so I wanted people to think they were in Bora Bora, having a glass of white wine with their friends in the water during sunset. And this is the song playing in the background. So that's kind of how I like to create a mood, or what's the image, which has been interesting because I've also been kind of delving into creating music for films. So short films, feature films, and it's just a really fun pairing to do that too.
Good for you. And thank you for understanding the value of and the importance of going back in your roots and your Samoan, not only your heritage, but also Mom's legacy as well.
Absolutely.
Very, very important. The questions are coming in. Do you have a hidden talent that most people don't know about? Good question.
Oh, that's a really good question. I love yoga. I'm a huge yoga fan, so I've been doing that for a while, but I tour a lot as well. So if you need to know where the best restaurants are, the closest gas station, the closest yoga places, I got you.
Are you a foodie? Are you a foodie?
I'm a huge foodie.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, my boyfriend owns 3 restaurants down in Chinatown, so I just eat and drink, and I'm very merry about it.
Gosh, and you're so thin and fit. What's your favorite? Chinese, Italian, Japanese?
Sushi.
Sushi.
I love sushi. Yes.
Yeah.
Poke. I'm a huge fan of spam musubi.
Absolutely. Who isn't?
Yeah.
I think it's a rite of passage in Hawaii. Where would be your dream place to perform?
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Or have you already performed there?
Nope, not yet. But I've always wanted. I think it'd be really fun to perform in front of the Egyptian pyramids. I know that Pink Floyd did that, and oh my gosh, if they did that again, and then they invited me,
hint, hint.
I would love to do something like that.
That is awesome.
I visited the pyramids once for my 30th birthday, and it's such a spiritual place, and you can kind of feel that. So being able to put on a show in front of the pyramids would be a dream come true.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be a cool image as well. Still getting a lot of questions, Taimane.
Right.
Thanks for pouring them in. We'll keep asking. You keep asking us. Do you have an album or song that you are most proud of? That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's like, all your children, right? You can't really pick which
and there's never a
one.
favorite, but there really is, right? No, but no, you have to pick one.
For the new album, honestly, Bora Bora Sunset is my favorite. It's something a little different than what I normally do, but just the whole vibe of the song, I feel a lot of people will enjoy.
Good for you. Can I put you on the spot? I mean,
Sure.
folks, stick around because Taimane is going to go live with us on Stream Live. But can you play that?
Oh, right now?
No. I mean, oh God, that'd be great. But no, later on, can you play that
Oh,
as
yes,
part of it?
definitely.
Awesome.
I'll be playing that later, so tune in.
Okay, great. You spoke of films. What films have you worked on, or are you working on currently?
Okay, so I just finished, and I know Jody's here because her partner is a filmmaker, and he just is finishing a new movie. Jody, can I announce it? Okay, yes, all right. It's called Growing Up Local by James Sereno with Kinetic Productions, and that is my second feature film. Very excited for that to come out soon. And then I also worked with James with another one called HAWAIʻI. That was my very first feature film, so that was a huge level up. And James has been a great mentor. And then I have another feature film, local feature film, that I'll see how it goes. And besides that, I've done short films.
When you say you've done the music for that, you mean like throughout the whole music? Wow, that's awesome.
Yes.
So that's a whole different mindset, is it not?
It is, because when I perform, it's that extroverted side. But when you create music for a film or for the album, it's very much introverted. So you're in the studio and you're just more connected into creating music rather than how do I look, where should I stand, connecting with other people. This is very much just me connecting with myself, really, and creating the most perfect music that I can.
That's well said.
Thanks.
That's well said. You know, the ukulele has been around obviously for a long time. In fact, it was the Portuguese that brought ukulele to Hawaii. But nobody looked at that 4-string, or in this case, your 5-string, as a respected instrument. Is that fair to say?
Not as serious.
Yeah, okay, serious would be maybe, that's that better word. It was maybe Hollywood or something, you see somebody playing on the side, but you, Jake, others have really brought this instrument to the world. And that's a huge responsibility too, is it not?
Yes, I think being on stage, I try and be the best version of myself, the most positive version of myself, because I know where I come from, and I definitely want to make Hawaii proud all the time. But regarding the ukulele not being as serious of an instrument, to me, I've taken advantage of that, really, because people don't really, I guess, expect too much of you when you say you play ukulele. And so I like to use that and show you how the ukulele can be as serious, and it has so much to express. And so I don't mind that. I just love to express myself through this instrument that I was given at such a young age.
Wow, that's kuleana. That's responsibility that you understand and that you carry with you. Going back to filmmaking, how did you get involved in the process of filmmaking? And what was always part of that dream for you, or was it?
Yes. I think it just connects so well with my music, because when I do create, I create with an image in mind, and so it just connects so well. So it started off with people asking to use my music in their movies already, so songs that were already written, and they would use it, kind of like for
Audio
What
podcast.
School You Went, So it just kind of connects really well in that. And then I did a short film, and it's called The Mountain Speaks. And that was, I think, my very first short film. They asked me to create music to image, and big responsibility too, and it worked really well. So that was the first one. And then James with Kinetic Production, really believed in me and was a great mentor for me to create music for his feature film.
When do you sleep, Taimane?
I don't.
You just came back from a tour, right?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yes.
Thank you for stopping by. But gosh, how do you find time to balance everything, interviews, besides being at live sold-out concerts, and then still balance your social media, because that's very important as well.
Yes, I think that is the key to life, right? Is trying to find that balance and how to maintain that. But I also know that my time, all of our time, is temporary, so I'm trying to do as much as I can while I can.
You jump in the ocean a lot?
I jump in my bathtub. And this is weird, but this is what I do to kind of relax. I turn off all the lights in my bath, and I close the curtain and I'm in my bathtub for like, you know, an hour or something, and that's kind of how I refresh myself a little bit. Yeah.
Nice. A couple more few more. Gosh, the questions are coming in. Thank you guys watching on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We appreciate it. Something different here, PBS Hawaii. We're live. If you weren't performing or playing music, what would you be doing?
Eating.
I mean, this is your life, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, what else would you do?
As a job, what would I do?
Yeah, I mean,
Or just on my off days, what do I do? The beauty about my music career is that there's so many different facets and aspects to it, which keeps it fresh. So a couple weeks ago, I got really into merchandising and learning about shipping, and that was like the hugest thing that I loved doing. And then, like you said, there's creating content for social media, there's making an album, there's creating a show, and, you know, playing with other musicians. So it's just like a whole facet of what do I want to do today, and that's what kind of keeps it fresh.
yeah, let me develop a clothing line. I mean, you develop. I mean,
Oh,
that's
yes.
a design on your case. That's you. You did.
Yes. So I worked with a designer named Sam Hamiota, and we created this design together. Again, I'm very proud of where I come from, my Polynesian side and my Hawaii side as well. My dad is from Arizona, but I wanted to showcase my Polynesian side because that's very rare. And so this is my new signature ukulele. It just released last week.
Cool.
So this is new, and the inspiration for this was the night sky. So you can kind of see the crescent moon made of white abalone, and then you see the Eva birds here flying to the night star.
Are we zooming in on that, folks? Can we see that?
Yeah. And these were kind of inspirations from my Samoan tattoo. I have some Eva birds and the night star. So that is kind of the inspiration. I take a lot of inspiration from my music, from the elements around me. And this also comes in 5-string as well. And I just think it's a great representation of me as an artist. You know, I'm a little gothic, so, you know, I like the black. Also comes in blue. And it's definitely something different in the ukulele world. So.
And what do you not do? Is that even grammatically correct? You are so versatile.
I'm terrible at taxes.
Are you really?
I'm terrible with math, everyone, so yes.
Yeah, I never understood math either. I mean, who does trigonometry?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. If not the ukulele, somebody's asking, what instrument would you be playing? Or would you be playing an instrument?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've always been really fascinated with the harp.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you tried it?
I have tried it. There's a lot more strings on a harp, but I love the celestial, ethereal sound. That's really angelic. I love guitar, so anything with strings, I think I'd probably be playing.
I could see you playing the harp at a whole different level. That'd be fun.
Yes, like a rock harp.
Like a rock harp. I
Yes.
wonder if has it been done?
Probably.
That'd be fun. Wow, we've got to get a harp in here for you. Another question, what's an unexpected aspect of life as a musician, as a creator, that most people might not be aware of? Unexpected aspect of life.
I think
That's a
there's-
deep question, by
That's
the
a
way.
great question. Yes, I think there's a couple things with being a musician. Number one, it's still a job.
Yeah.
Like you have to put in that work ethic and practice and do it even when you don't feel like doing it. That's number one. Number two is you have to take care of your body, which can be tough in the entertainment industry, you know, but that, you know, I am my instrument, and so I really try and focus on taking care of myself too.
That's well said.
Musicians,
Yeah. I mean, not only physically, but also, like you said, decompress spiritually. You've got to be in a good place because it's a grind.
Exactly.
Folks probably go, "Oh, come on, you travel the world. How exciting!" But
It's grueling.
it's grueling.
Being on planes all the time, eating weird things, jet lag. I love what I do, but it also, you know, it's a job, so I take it seriously.
It's a blessing, but it's also
Yes.
a huge grind. There's a lot of other questions coming in. I asked, we have actually a studio audience in here today, so I welcome your questions too. We're just, you know, we're doing things a little different here at PBS Hawaii right now. But you know, I want to go back to social media because COVID made, I hate the word pivot, but made us change so much of what we do. But it's also strengthened us in many different ways, Hawaii especially, But even as entertainers, you had to change your approach because you couldn't go, jam in a concert or perform live. So what was your approach to social media during COVID?
I'm thankful I have a pretty good following even before COVID. So I had a good audience ready for whatever I decided, and then I have a great manager, Mark Tyrone, who really took responsibility for the technical side, which is hard, especially as an artist. I got to learn all of these, how all these things work. So I think having those two really helped me through COVID during COVID time. Yeah.
It expanded your reach, literally expanded your reach to places maybe you have not visited or touched.
I have a really big following in India.
That's amazing.
Which I think is really cool.
Do you correspond? I mean, do you respond to them if given the opportunity?
Yeah, I'm on my Instagram.
That's awesome.
So, I am a millennial, so I am on Instagram. And then Facebook is up, and YouTube is up. I'm trying to get into the TikTok, but it's just like there's so many things. So, social media manager, maybe I need one.
We got one. We have to be in that space because that's where people are consuming content, right?
But it's like you said, it's a global audience, and that's what I really love about social media is global.
It can be a tool, to use. It can be, obviously has its downfalls.
Definitely.
But it's all about responsibility and knowing how to reach your audience in a very respectful, with integrity, and I know you're doing that.
And it's a great way for them to come to a show.
Absolutely.
So we do a lot of social media ads, and people say, I saw you on YouTube, and that's the reason why they're at my show when I'm touring. So
That's
it's
very
a
cool.
huge tool.
Speaking of touring, somebody's asking you, will you be coming back to Molokai soon?
Oh, I've actually never been to Molokai before, but I would love to go.
Will you be coming to Molokai soon?
Oh, will I
Sorry.
be coming to?
Yes.
I've never been. I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to play there.
Oh, they would love to have you.
Yes.
Yeah. Go right there in Kaunakakai. They have a place called The Wharf. I'm going to date myself. But when I was in high school, we got kolohe one day with some folks, and they said, hey, we're going to The Wharf tonight. Right? And so a bunch of us athletes jumped in a truck, and we thought we were going to a nightclub. It was a wharf. I kid you not. And that's where everybody hangs out.
That's cool.
Maybe you could jam at The Wharf.
Can you jump into the water?
You can. Yeah,
That'd
you
be
can.
kinda fun.
But it's a whole different vibe up there in Molokai. Thanks for that question, whoever's joining us from Molokai right now. What's your advice to musicians looking to make music a career?
Like I said, number one is discipline, consistent discipline. It's great having motivation, but motivation, I think, waxes and wanes.
Right.
So having discipline is number one. Creating a schedule or routine. So what I do is I have a list that I work on all the time. So I write down all the things that I need to do, and I work on that list. It's never going to be done, but it's just, that's how I get things done. So having that business work ethic that my dad taught me at such a young age has really helped me to make this a career. So I would do that, and then maybe like weekly you have every Sunday you practice or something for an hour. And I wouldn't do this whole day, 5 hours, 3 hours of practicing. I would do it in little increments. Like I said, consistency is most important.
Yeah. I call it the TTD, my things to do list, which never goes away.
Never goes away.
We still have questions coming in, Taimane. Thanks for answering these, by the way. How often do you listen to music, and what do you listen to? Oh, good one.
So I recently have been getting into working out a lot. So I actually listen to workout music to get myself pumped up every single day.
For my generation, that'd be like Jane Fonda, workout.
Oh, nice.
So no, I'm just
Nice.
kidding. But what are you listening to when you're going?
Oh gosh, I listen to I listen to a lot of pop. I do. I also listen to a lot of podcasts too. I'm a fan of Joe Rogan. I listen to a lot of his podcasts. So it's that, and maybe like lo-fi, which is like chiller music. So I have those three. Oh, and electronic music when I'm, doing taxes or accounting. So that's what I listen to.
Interesting.
Electronic, lo-fi, workout music, and then podcasts.
Try Jerry Rafferty,
Okay.
Baker Street. That's what I work out to.
Okay.
Music of the 70s.
All right.
'Cause I'm stuck there. Okay, let's keep on coming. What's the weirdest thing that you've eaten during your travels? Have you tried?
Oh,
strange
yes.
foods,
I've had
obviously,
some
yeah.
weird things. Yes, I remember I was playing in Taiwan, and I was there with a bunch of other ukulele players, and there was squid beaks. That was a little weird. I had some beer, though, so
Yeah.
I went for it, and it was pretty weird.
But you knew it, what it was.
Yep, I knew what it was, and squid beaks that's probably the weirdest thing. But I also am a huge fan of natto,
Yeah?
which I know a lot of people aren't. I'm
No,
a huge
no.
fan of natto. I
Really?
can eat that every single day.
It's a taste.
Yes,
It's an acquired
acquired
taste.
taste.
When I traveled with Jake and in Japan, one of our friends, Roji Soronaka, took us out and didn't tell us what we were eating, and it was whale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was a whale of a dish, but it was not that good. It was not good at all. But you know, that's probably the weirdest thing I've ever ate.
Yeah.
Are there times where you need to take a break from performance?
Oh,
music?
yes, definitely. I like to think of myself actually as an introvert rather than an extrovert. So I get my resetting of my batteries when I'm alone and when I'm just in my house, kind of relaxing then, or with my boyfriend or friends. And then I go out and play music as an extrovert, but I reset by myself.
I'm trying to visualize that because you're such an entertainer on stage.
It's a different part of me, you know, being able to talk and have this huge diva-esque thing. But then when I'm not, you know, when I'm not playing, I'm pretty quiet. I'm actually a pretty quiet person when.
Is she?
Hey, Mark, am I pretty quiet?
Sure. Whatever you say, Taimane.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Good
Hey,
answer.
You know,
Yeah.
your tour, it's a world tour. I mean, you went to the UK.
I did.
I mean, you travel literally around the world. What's that like? UK, they dig your music?
Yeah. We played at the Glastonbury Festival, which is one of the biggest festivals in the world. So going from COVID to that being my first tour back was almost culture shock, but I love it. I love being able to see new cultures and try new foods, and very blessed that I can do that because of this instrument. So I love it, but I do love coming home to Hawaii and, you know, refreshing here.
Yeah, it's important to get back, right? Okay, I know we're getting close to time, and again, I'm going to ask our audience who are joining us live on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook to please stick around. After the podcast, we're going to, Taimane is going to change or get into a different space and then come out and jam for us. So we really appreciate that. Somebody's asking, what's your creative process like? I don't know what that means, but what is your creative process like?
So, when it comes to creating an album, I actually don't allow myself to write music until I come up with a concept for the album, because I just want it to be 100% focused on the concept. So once I have a concept in mind, then I like to create music to a mood. I've been playing for so long now that it's easier for me to express myself through an ukulele than, 10 years ago, but it really is, what mood am I trying to create with this instrument? And I guess what images do I create too? And then, the melody will happen.
It just happens?
Yeah,
Yeah?
it does. The melody is always number one. That's the thing that happens. And then if I want to put lyrics to it, that comes later.
Somebody's asking about the pandemic and lockdowns and the impact. How was that on you? I mean, were you, like a lot of us, felt just, my gosh, what am I going to do?
It was, I know it was stressful, but I was so happy to be able to rest and focus on the album and to learn how to bake bread. I never knew how to bake until COVID. So I'm an introvert. I really I love being home and puttering around and doing my little thing. So that's kind of what I did during COVID.
That's actually, I heard that from a lot of people who were part of the industry, that it was such a grind and they missed performing and they know people were craving it. But it was a nice time to just slow down.
Yeah.
And decompress.
Yeah, my ex at the time was building a house, and so being one with nature and being outside was really, it was fun.
You had you time.
Something different.
Yeah, you had you time. Interesting question. Your skin looks fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
What is your skincare routine?
Ooh, so I learned at a young age, sunscreen is key. Number one, prevention. I cover up a lot too, which is why I don't go to the beach that often. I try and stay out of the sun as much, but I think it's my sunscreen that you're probably seeing. It kind of gives us glow. I clean it and I just make sure I cover it. So thank you.
I can't say I've ever asked that question to anyone in my entire career, that asking somebody about their skincare routine, but I do know, I mean, that it's diligence. I mean, you've got to be on it to look that great.
Oh,
Okay, we're running. I got more. Okay, we're live, so we'll just keep going. And I don't want to wrap this up. What's the best way for a beginner to learn to play the ukulele properly? That's the last question.
Gosh. Okay. So everyone learns differently. So I think if you know how to learn, if it's visual, are you a visual learner or do you do it by ear? So for me personally, I do it by ear.
Wow.
So I kind of know how to read music, but I'm not the best at it. It's all by ear. So I guess figure that out first. And then if you want to do it properly, I would definitely see a teacher. There's YouTube, or you can see someone in person. And they will probably teach you scales first, chords, all of that. But if that bores you, because that sometimes bores me too, I guess look up a song that you want to learn. You know, that's a great place to learn how chords work together, and start with strumming. Strumming is probably the first thing to start with. Strum.
Okay, you know what? That was awesome, and thank you everybody for your questions. I mean, they just kept. If we could probably stay here all day, and listen. But joining us on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, please stick around. We're going to wrap the podcast up, the audio podcast side. But Taimane will be joining us live for some from jams before we sign off. And as we sign off, like we do every What School You Went, can you jam Hades for us?
Oh,
Can you with
of
that?
course, yes.
As you do that, I'm going to sign off, but I'll wait for you to. So if it sounds familiar. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What? Okay.
There it is. Yeah. Mahalo nui for joining us, folks. Join us next time on another episode of What School You Went. Until then, ahui ho.
All right.
Awesome.